Hello, welcome to the video. I'm going to be testing The Witcher 3 on my 4070 Ti Super. I'm going to be doing it at 4K, so we've got that set here. I've got frame generation on. We're going to be doing it with ray tracing, so we've got that set on here. DLSS set to quality, and then all the other settings are going to be maxed out, so we've got Hairworks on here, that's all maxed, and then the rest of the graphics settings are set to Ultra Plus. So let's have a look at that. Okay, I'm going to have a look at a couple of areas, so we'll have a little look around here. I'll grab my horse. We normally have, in the dense forest areas, probably the hardest areas to run in this game. We are getting just about above 60 at the moment. I would guess that's going to dip down under 60. So if we get into some of the forest areas, that's where we normally see the lowest FPS. So it's coming through here. There you go, 58.
Let's go.
I think it's not going to be too far under 57. Not too bad. Such a good looking game still though, especially with the next gen update. Still graphically looks really nice. It's pretty much roughly holding that 62 FPS average, so overall just above. VRAM as well looks fine, just under 12 gig here, so this would even be okay on the 12 gig 4070 Ti. Power consumption as well, it's fairly high, 270, 275, so it's fairly high on that. So dropping down in the combat a little bit there, ever so slightly, it comes under 60, but pretty much just about holds 60 by the looks of it. So yeah, holding above 60 at least here, very similar frame rate to outside, 62. I think maybe in some areas you'll hit closer to 70. VRAM up in this city though is up to about 13.5 now, so obviously the 12 gig model is at this point gonna struggle there. I'm going to take a look at 4K native, so we'll switch frame generation off, and then I'm also going to switch DLSS off. So we've got no upscaling, no frame generation, with ray tracing still on, and see roughly what our frame rate's like. Oof.
Go.
26. 25 to 30. Didn't really particularly notice any latency with frame generation on. I know a lot of the time people say you need to be above like 60 FPS, but before you switch frame generation on, we're you know, not even above 30 here, but I didn't really notice any latency by switching frame generation on. It just causes that weird stutter issue though, so our lows, our 0.1% low is going to be better with frame generation off, which it looks like it is here at 29 FPS, and we've got a 0.1% low of 20, so that's a lot better than what we had it with frame generation on. Now, this is probably going to the forest, which is going to be the hardest areas to run, so you're seeing it dip down there to 23. Let's have a look at 4K native with ray tracing off. So if I just switch that off here, we've got all the settings still maxed out, so we've got Ultra Plus graphics and everything still. Can't quite get 60. I do think the one biggest disappointment about this GPU is that even at 4K without ray tracing, it still seems to struggle. The two games that I've seen it in so far, Cyberpunk and this, I mean, it's kind of understandable in Cyberpunk in a way because the graphics, even without ray tracing, is still quite demanding. I mean, this game still looks really nice, but I don't know, I kind of wish we'd be getting more than 40, you know? Even if it was maybe 55 a bit more consistently, that'd be okay, but you know, dipping down to 40, almost into the 30s, up to like 50 here, but just looking at those, the hardest areas to run, those forest areas, you're going to be dipping down to 40 FPS. I'm now going to take a look at 1440p, so we've got that set here. I've got frame generation on, we've also got ray tracing on again. We've got that here. DLSS is set to quality. And then all the settings are going to be maxed again, so we've got Hairworks on and then Ultra Plus on all the graphics settings. So if we have a look at that, it should be quite a substantial increase of FPS, and it looks like we're getting, yeah, over 110 here. So up from, we had about roughly 60, didn't we, at 4K equivalent of these settings. Almost doubled.
Faster.
Just under double. We're getting like 110. Hopefully, with a bit of luck, we stay above 100. I'll check out some of the forest areas, because that's where we saw, obviously, the FPS at its lowest. I think it might drop under 99. So it drops there by like 10 FPS pretty much. Still not too bad, not too far under, but...
Come on, Roach.
Power's sitting about 240, 250, so that's also fairly average. I'm noticing the GPU usage fluctuating around, though. I think that's just frame generation again. Like, I think we'll still see this stuttering with frame generation. I'll fight these here, see if the... Oh my god. This is a lot. So, FPS dropping a little bit here in the combat. Down to 90, so it's almost like the same as the forest area. So if I then also now switch DLSS quality off and leave ray tracing on. So without 1440p native, with ray tracing still on, obviously this is... It's not really massively better than... I suppose it is actually. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's double. Is it double FPS from what we had at 4K? We had loads of 2025. It was kind of 30-ish, wasn't it? So it's not quite double. Like a 15 FPS increase, hovering around that kind of 45 to 50, down to almost 40 here. So yeah, it's still very, very hard to run.
What a freak.
That ray tracing. Right, so we're native 1440p, and I'm just going to switch ray tracing off as well. We've got all the other settings set to Ultra Plus still. And there we go, we're getting like almost 100 here. So quite a big difference between 4K and 1440p for this. It can't do 60 at 4K, but quite nicely does it at 1440p with the settings all maxed out. It's just that ray tracing still just... You know, you're looking at 1080p. 1080p native with everything maxed and ray tracing to even be able to do 60, which is... It's pretty, pretty heavy. I'm going to take a look at 1080p with ray tracing. So we are at 1080p native, so there's no frame generation on and there's no DLSS upscaling on. But we've got ray tracing on here. We've also got all the other graphic settings set to Ultra Plus still. So I was kind of curious to see what we'd get here. And it seems like this combination of settings will give you at least 60 FPS. Faster. Which is kind of insane that we have to drop to 1080p to get 60 with ray tracing. Like, I know ray tracing is super demanding, but I don't know. It seems... I'd have hoped we'd have at least been able to do 1440p at 60 with these settings, but... Seems like 1080p is it. And even then here, we're getting drops down to, you know, we're still even dropping down under 60 here. So, to run ray tracing on this game, you're going to have to use, unless you're at 1080p, you're going to have to use some combination of DLSS or frame generation to be able to run it above 60. That's going to be it for this video. Thanks a lot for watching. Make sure to drop a like on the video, leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll catch you next time.